Carti has been in the game for about 12 years and he only has 3 albums to his name. But, I mean, if we were to talk about Carti not dropping music, come on, bro, I would just sound like every fan on Instagram. So today we're going to be talking about why I hate being a Carti fan, but deep down, it's low-key a blessing in disguise. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to be dividing it into 3 different groups. 1 is going to be talking about Carti and who he is as a person, quote unquote. I never met the guy. 2 is just going to talk about, you know, what he does for his fans, how does he treat them and shit. Number 3, it'll just be like my personal pet peeves against like Carti's music, his community, shit like that. Headley in a huddle, I'm saying hut. Yeah. My papa Perkins then go bust a nut. Carti and his troubles with law enforcement goes together like peanut butter and jelly. I call him Carti McQueen because he likes to speed. A lot. If Carti ain't playing Need for Speed against the police, he's beating someone up. And just like that, bro got charged $14K. He didn't care though, he went to Icebox probably that same night. Now, please note that everything stated in this video is all allegedly. I don't need Carti's legal team shoving lawsuits up my ass. According to Google AI, Carti's net worth is around 100 million. And we all know the internet doesn't lie, so please Carti, don't do it. I love your albums. Well, 2 of them. As a shock to absolutely no one, I'm gonna be talking about Carti and Iggy. They met in 2018 and end up having a kid together in 2020. Everything seemed cool between them until Iggy started calling out Carti for doing snaky shit behind her back. In one of many instances, she would publicly call out Carti, saying, "Imagine not flying out your family on Christmas, but you have the girl you cheated on me my entire pregnancy with at your album party, and magically me and my son can't come for Christmas anymore? Trash." And we obviously know about the infamous IG Live, where Carti got put on full blast, saying that he was in Philadelphia when Iggy was giving birth and he didn't even sign the birth certificate. This was during quarantine so that Iggy could only take one guess, and that was going to be Carti, but then he was in a whole different state. A couple months later, during an interview, Iggy explained that she hasn't even been co-parenting, she's been raising the kid all by herself. Since Carti, you know, likes to act all mysterious, he hasn't been responding to any of the allegations slam dunked on him by Iggy. And probably the most standout news was Carti allegedly beating his pregnant ex-girlfriend. He apparently lashed out on her during an argument. She was talking to him about the paternity test because she was 4 months pregnant. She tried to escape and called the police. When she broke free, she ran out to the car to hit the SOS button. Carti was allegedly chasing her down, trying to pull her out of the car. The cops arrived and she was visibly wounded. Carti was later arrested and he was charged with felony aggravated assault. He soon got out on a $100K bond. His lawyer stated that he was falsely accused. Iggy went on Twitter to speak on the situation herself. And we know Carti ain't gonna talk about the situation. I guess being mysterious is somehow paying the bills. He's so mysterious, in fact, that he turned down having an interview with Nardwuar. Leaving Nardwuar hanging is crazy, but like, to be honest, if I'm Carti, that's the last person I want to talk to. Aiden Ross planned on having a stream with Playboi Carti where he was going to give him $2 million. Aiden tries to make small talk, but then just gets quickly ignored by Carti and his entourage.
So how was the Grammys?
But then when Aiden pulled out the 2 mil, Carti let out an evil ass laugh.
That's for you. Yeah, a little gift from me to you.
Carti pulled up looking like Darth Vader and then insists on doing a fit check. And then he starts dancing to music instead of like promoting his album or some shit. Aiden Ross later explained that he actually didn't give him 2 mil, but instead it was 200K. Aiden was on a kick stream and actually called Carti asking him for a part 2. On the phone, Carti started saying more words than he did in the stream, and he also said that he's super shy. But I highly doubt a part 2 is ever gonna happen. If Aiden isn't paying, Carti isn't showing up. All it took was disrespecting Aiden Ross and Nardwuar for fans to realize Carti might be an ass. And if we look in the past, we can see that Carti has been using people to leverage his own career. Back in 2015, when Carti was first making noise in the underground scene with songs like Young Zan Ho and Beef, he was frequently collaborating with the producer named Ethereal. Ethereal was a part of a group named Awful Records. Awful Records took Carti under their wing, which would later lead to fashion designer Ian Connor discovering his music. He would then introduce Carti to A$AP Rocky. Father, who was the founder of Awful Records, wanted to sign Carti, but they weren't even a legal label yet, they were just a collective. Once Ian and Rocky got word of this, they flew Carti out to New York where he would sign under Rocky's label OG. At first, there weren't any issues, because at the end of the day, Father was actually happy for Carti. And when Carti was under Awful, he was trying his best to push him out as much as he can. He knew Carti had the potential to be a superstar.
Motherfucking Father career getting beats. Who the fuck is this nigga? That nigga can rap, you know what I'm saying? But it's just crazy because, like, I was doing my own shit, fucking with Mexico Drum, you know, Plugs, that was my nigga, you know what I mean? But then I got a little more diverse. Started fucking with Father, Eat the Real, the Offer Team. Not Offer Records, never been Offer Records, never signed that contract.
I know there was that confusion there sometimes.
Ain't no confusion, bro. But Father, Eat the Real, those my niggas, you know what I'm saying? And I fuck with Offer. They from Atlanta, we did. Cool, they helped me. They helped me get a lot of exposure, and I love them for that. But it's all gang over here. I'm signing ASAP Rocky, we did. You know what I mean? But yeah.
The real problem started rising when Carti wasn't paying his producers. Mexico Dro and Molon Beats were pissed because Carti wasn't paying them for their work on Self-Titled. Since they were both unsigned, getting into any legal work would cost more money than them actually making off the song, so Carti basically took their beats and just ran. Which, this was around the time when Magnolia was popping off, so I know Carti had some money in his pockets. I don't know why he wasn't giving it to his day ones, but oh well. This would obviously lead to them falling out, but those weren't the only people Carti decided to leave behind in order to boost his career. Back in 2014, Carti and his two close friends, Uno the Activist and Thousand Band Fani, created a group together called Splur Gang. Carti and Uno have actually known each other since they were babies. Uno met Fani at a house party, which he would later introduce to Carti. Since Carti signed with OG, fans noticed he was seen with Uno and Fani way less. People really didn't speculate there was anything wrong between them, given that ASAP Mob was so huge in the mid-2010s. Tensions would rise on the 7th of October in 2016, when Bloody Dior got into an argument with Uno the Activist over a girl, and apparently the argument would quickly escalate into a shootout. Dior shot Uno and he was quickly rushed to the hospital. Thankfully, Uno was able to quickly recover, but Bloody Dior accused him of snitching and said he had paperwork to back it. Bloody Dior makes up for one half of the Bloody Brothers with him and Osiris. They're a fashion, director, and stylist duo based in Harlem, both of which are closely tied to the ASAP Mob. What it all came down to was Carti affiliating himself with the Bloody Brothers instead of his childhood friend Uno. Thousand Band Fani would also fall out with Carti. Thousand Band Fani would start beefing with Lil Yachty. A few days after they started beefing, Yachty and Carti dropped an interview on the Fader. The last person I'm going to mention that had a falling out with Carti is actually Pierre Bourne. These two were unstoppable in 2017-2018. When A Whole Lotta Red was dropping, Pierre Bourne was claiming that him and Carti were still locked in.
So he calls me. I just got up. He's in the studio all night. He's like, yeah, I just did all those beats. Send me some more. I'm like, nah, dog, no. Say it ain't so. Like, you did all the beats? He's like, yeah, man, send me some more. I'm like.
He also said that him and Carti aren't that close anymore due to him focusing on his own solo material.
Me and Carti, we don't even be around each other like that no more. Like, we talk all the time, but I don't know. I think after I started trying to finish my album, I just got so consumed in that became my real focus again. But not saying that I stopped producing for him, because I always send beats, always send beats. But I noticed I don't have to physically be there.
When A Whole Lotta Red finally released, fans were shocked to see that Pierre Bourne only had 2 producer credits on the entire album. Place and I Love You, I Hate You, which Place was already an old grail. Fans were confused as to why Pierre Bourne was left off this album, as he was responsible for creating grails during the Whole Lotta Red V1 and V2 era. Carti had an interview with Kid Cudi where Cudi asked him why he was working with so many producers for just one album. Carti said, you got rappers who like to be around rappers, and then you got rappers like me who like to be around producers. I'm always looking for that new sound. I'm a producer head. That's what I love. And I'm never sticking with one producer either. We're only getting older, and I like having young people around me to tell me what's fire right now. I ain't never dropping that album without popping a new producer or giving a producer who's been going crazy in the spotlight. Things would officially go south for the duo when Pierre Bourne was beefing with Opium affiliates. A fan asked Ken Carson on Twitter if he would ever work with Pierre. Ken Carson replied with no. Fans were a bit confused, but Ken Carson would elaborate, saying that Pierre Bourne actually refused to work with him earlier in his career. When Pierre dropped the official music video for For You, Carti dropped the music video for Sky in the same day. Pierre would make a tweet saying, people really don't want to see me glow, this shit written. When Opium Baby started throwing shade at Rocky for leaking his song Our Destiny, Pierre Bourne sent a tweet at him saying, don't bite the hand that fed you. Opium Baby replied saying, fuck Pierre too, I had to beg bro to let you in the studio. Which made a really weird look on Pierre because basically his close friend Carti didn't even want to work with him until someone else had to beg him to let him in. Lazy is saying every day I gotta work, got a video SZA and I love it when she twerks. I mean, if it wasn't obvious enough, Carti does not like his fans. Carti announced that he was going to have a tour called Antagonist where he was going to bring everyone around his Opium label to North America and Europe. After so much postponing, he outright just canceled that shit. And this man Carti in 2023 made a song called 2024 where in the song he says 2024 music. Just for the album to not come out in 2024. Whether you think the album is good or not is completely up to you, but let's be honest, bro. A Carti album is not worth 5 years of waiting. Especially when he was doing the deep voice shit all the way back in 2023. 2 years later, he drops a whole album surrounding it. So like, I felt like it was kind of old at this point. 2024 would have been the best time to drop the album. Earlier that year, he was dropping songs exclusively on YouTube and Instagram. He went on an insane feature run. Why didn't he not drop the album? And then when he finally gets around to dropping it, there's mixing issues, there's AI. It's like, bro, come on. If you told me back in 2020 that I'm gonna have to wait longer than 2 years for another Carti album, I would have called you a straight up liar. 1 decade, 2 Carti albums, fuck out her. The album rollout for I Am Music could not have been worse. We got 1 song and around 50 fit pics, thank you Carti. Relying on Carti's release dates have gotten so bad that he's literally lied on his daughter's life about dropping new music. K-pop was the last song he would release exclusively on Instagram, and then when he reposted it saying, on my daughter, I'ma drop if y'all run it up, he went back into hibernation. Which, I mean, lying about that might just be the last straw, but for Carti fans, it would be one of many. The only person we can trust in desperate times like this is that angry British dude that just yells at the top of his lungs. When the angry British dude announced that new Carti album was gonna drop on a Friday, fans were eager to stay up all night just to listen to it. But there was one very important detail he left out. The album wouldn't come out until 6 in the goddamn morning. If you're one of many stupid fans like me, you probably waited until 3 in the morning before calling it quits and then going to sleep. So many streamers were left dumbfounded at the fact that they were up at like 4 in the morning and it still didn't come out yet. Got a new mansion, I'm feeling like Will. Shawty come over, we can still be and chill. Cause like, bro, if it's not painfully obvious enough, I love this little gay vampire, bro. But I do have a couple Playboi Carti pet peeves that I'm gonna start listing, starting at number 1. I hate it when Carti fans are like, yo, what's your favorite Carti era? It's like, I don't know, the part where he dyed his hair, did fit pics, and didn't drop music. For example, like the Whole Lotta Red V1 and V2 era, that constantly gets praised by fans, but I don't see how. It's like you're defending unreleased music. It's like, and you can do that with any artist who has a shitty catalog. Instead of thinking like those are like the best eras ever created, I just look back and think, what if? Like, what if Carti cared about his fans? What if Carti stuck to the plan? I guess we wouldn't have gotten the Whole Lotta Red that we all know and hate, but at the same time, though, it's like I can't defend unreleased catalogs. That doesn't make sense. I'm not at all saying the leaks are trash, but I'm just saying that, like, they don't matter when it comes to, like, the concept of judging Carti and his overall music. And it just so happens to be that Whole Lotta Red isn't an album that I necessarily enjoy that much. I like the ideas and the sound that Carti tries to go for on Whole Lotta Red, but in my opinion, he just doesn't have it in him to really capitalize it to its fullest potential, which can have some songs feel short and forgettable or boring and drawn out, with them having very little substance to justify its length. Still had some bangers though. It is a Carti album after all, so that's to be expected, but this definitely contained his worst music to date. And then we have I Am Music. A 5-year wait for an album that I would never consider to be a 7 or higher. But at the same time, like, I obviously expected we weren't going to get a 10 out of 10 classic album because Carti mostly focuses on making music that would sound amazing at concerts instead of in your ear. Unfortunately, Carti set the bar pretty high earlier in his career. I'd go as far as to say that Carti's first 2 years of dropping music has been better than his last 7. That being said though, every Carti album that I've ever listened to has grown on me over time. Off the first listen when it came to self-titled, I would give the album like a 6, but nowadays I consider it like an 8.5. Die Lit off first listen was probably like a 7, now you already know it's a 10. The first listen on Whole Lotta Red was generational, bruh, 3 out of 10, but nowadays probably like a solid 5. Apparently there's rumors of Tyler and Carti beefing. Tyler was featured on a new Clip song and said, "Little feature, neighbors try to sue me, tell your lawyer to set the fee." Tyler tweeted to clarify that an old friend tried to sue him over a feature they gave him. Even though he told us not to run with narratives, but come on bruh, Pusha T? More like pushing 50. All Unk does is diss some of my favorite rappers and it pisses me off, because he's damn good at it. From the outside, it looks like an old man is just going after a bunch of younger artists that are way better than him. I don't think he hates without a reason, but if anyone is hopping on a Pusha song, they're probably gonna be dissing. Kirko put a tweet saying Playboi Carti's team has reportedly issued a cease and desist to Tyler the Creator over the inclusion of his verse on the Chromacopia vinyl release. Carti is literally just trying to unrelease his own music, bruh. Carti gives Offset a feature, Offset previews the song, and then when his album is about to drop, Carti doesn't put his feature on the goddamn album. But this trend wouldn't stop anytime soon. Carti submitted a late feature to Pink Tape, which obviously didn't make it on the record. He gives Ken Carson a feature on his album More Chaos after the album had already dropped. He was also going to feature on another one of his Opium affiliates, Homicide Gang's album. But instead, Carti decides to delist his feature off the album, and the only time the song was ever previewed was in Roblox. Now, I know Opium is known for its mysteriousness. Why the fuck is Homicide Gang previewing a song on Roblox? I'm guessing Bino's girlfriend was like in the crowd or some shit. But of all people, he's on time for Lil Baby. Carti is pushing 30, has 2 kids, is allegedly a deadbeat, and he acts mysterious online, all while wearing a thong out in public. I know that this is probably, if not definitely, the most negative video I've ever made, but you have to understand that this all comes from a place of love. Because at the end of the day, man, I just want to see this man back at his prime, quote unquote. Because it's like, now he's bigger than he ever was, but I feel like musically, it's just been going downhill. But fuck it, bro. Here's to another Carti album in hopefully less than 5 years. Maybe he'll get back on his shit, and when he does, I'll be talking about it in the next video. Love you guys. Take care. But that diamond lollipop he bought is crazy. There's no flavor. It's just diamonds. He's sucking on that thing for the fun of it.